as the guy has suffered in Kampala in Uganda in the hands of a strong man known as Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, but they are not deterred. They are just unbowed as usual, still standing tall and saying what they want to do. They believe in a better country, a better change, and change for the future. Of course, I'll invite the two gentlemen in studio today, and of course, it's Bob Njagi and Nicola. Gentlemen, introduce yourself. Watu wasikie sauti yenyu.
Asante bwana CEO.
Yes.
My name is Bob Njagi.
Yes.
Bob Michel Njagi. I'm chairperson of the Free Kenya movement, a concerned citizen in this country.
Yeah.
I'm also a presidential candidate in 2027, but mostly I'm a patriotic Kenyan who fights for the oppressed, who stands up for the rule of law, human rights. I'm a human rights defender, and this is partly why we got into trouble when we crossed over to Uganda. I want to first thank the media, especially KTN Standard Group, for really coming through when we were at our hour of need in terms of publicizing what was happening in Uganda. I also want to thank the young people, the Gen Zs, who took to the Twitter, TikTok, and really created a very strong momentum for our call to be released. So nashukuru sana wapendwa, tunawapenda sana. We continue to fight for good governance, democracy, accountability in government systems, and we are organizing ourselves not only in 2027, but even with these by-elections that are upcoming, whereby we are supporting independent candidates to take over. But we are saying that partly the problem we have in this country is the political infrastructure, the system that we have, is not being able to create the kind of leaders that we need to have, and therefore we end up having protests year in and year out due to bad governance. It's about time now we also now moved from protest to power. That's what we're saying.
Protest to power.
From
Very
protest
interesting.
to power.
Protest to... Nick.
Yeah, Nicholas Oyo.
Yes.
Mimi ni Secretary General Free Kenya Movement.
Yeah.
Pia mimi ni mpigania haki.
Yeah.
Pia mimi napenda nchi yangu.
Yeah.
I'm a patriotic Kenyan, but I'm also a Kenyan who believes that things must go right. I'm a person who believes in the Constitution and the process that this Constitution must take.
And gentlemen, you've actually captured it very well, your beliefs, and it's not in doubt. So how did you end up in Uganda, and how are you guys taken in?
We started by traveling there for our own personal issues, and we realized that this is a sister organization.
Yeah.
When we say people power, higher power, then they say people power, our power.
Yes.
So we were there in solidarity. For us, solidarity means anything you can do for a comrade. Even when you go to court and you can't do anything there, but you appear there, that's solidarity for us. Even when you just tweet and talk about that issue, that's solidarity. And you saw what it did. So we went there on solidarity. So as we got into that engagement, we found that he's a bit busy. We didn't get time to sit down with him and ask a few questions we wanted to ask, because we also on a fact-finding mission. We wanted to see how this can also help us in some of the things, the way we organize. Unfortunately, after we had left that convoy and we had gone to a petrol station, Starbucks, I think it's Mutuga, that place, that is where they came for us. And I think there is somebody who basically was telling them about us, preparing them to come and waylay us.
It's really sad that you went to help a sister organization, and because you believe in a freer, democratic space and country, but the government of the day does not see you as people who are fighting for freedom. They're seeing you as trouble. So how do you connect the misconception of what you stand for, the ideals which you stand for, which shapes your vision, with the environment you're operating in? Njagi?
Yeah, it's very difficult, like we came to understand, that the environment in Uganda is very different from the political environment in Kenya. I think for us, we're a bit lucky that the Constitution allows for more freedoms of association, freedom of speech, and we sometimes take those freedoms for granted. In Uganda, they are still using a constitution that perhaps, actually the constitution does allow for us to mingle politically, but they have a system which is a military state, whereby the military runs the country, so to speak. And so they can choose to even suspend the constitution at will, like what they did for our case. If we had been arrested, we ought to have been presented to a court of law within 48 hours as per their laws. But they opted to abduct us forcefully because we had no option of refusing. You know, we were actually abducted forcefully. We were tortured. We have been kept incommunicado, total incommunicado, where you don't speak to anyone outside where you are or inside. We have been denied proper food and medical attention for those 38 days. We were psychologically tortured and physically. I mean, this goes against all the human rights, laws, either both locally or internationally. And it is a serious diplomatic trick, even for all other Kenyans who want to travel for business or for leisure in Uganda. It means that you can be picked anywhere, you're not safe. And this is actually going against the spirit of the East African community. My passport is an East African passport. I entered into Uganda and I was given a 6 months visa, actually. So we were there legally. And if there was any reason the government felt that they did not want us in their country, it's their right to deny us the visa, instead of allowing you to travel and then abducting you in the process while you're undergoing your day-to-day activities. We meant no harm to Uganda. We were not going there to start protest or to incite them, no. Ours was a plain mission to visit a sister country, to share in the social, economic, and also political activities happening. Going forward, I think the timing perhaps was a bit sensitive because they are having elections in a few days' time, on the 26th. Yeah, so that's in a month's time. I was actually supposed to travel there again in January. I have my friends from Canada who wanted to visit Uganda. So they asked me, Bob, do you know a place we can visit? I was going to fact find and see if we can, the travel plans. I'm sure they're going to cancel those plans as soon as they hear what happened. So this is something that goes against the spirit of East African community. We need to have a more open and liberal society. And even when we go to Tanzania, we follow the laws of Tanzania. We don't break the laws. That is not to mean that we cannot partner with people in Tanzania to advance our ideologies there. That is exactly what we are doing. And even with this upcoming, we are proposing to initiate several strategies that are going to compel the government of Tanzania to come down its high horse. Over 10,000 lives have been lost as we speak, and unconfirmed, but we are getting the reports from the people. Just now I received some Tanzanian refugees who have crossed the border into Kenya, and they're giving us information of what is happening. The president saw herself in using a military, in a military camp. So the similarity is happening in Tanzania across the region. Remember, our president, William Ruto, is the chairman of the East African community. Currently,
yes.
So therefore, it means that in his position, he's able to curtail or not. He's able to call these presidents to order as a chairperson. And therefore, if it's happening in Tanzania and he sends his deputy president to Tanzania to go and ratify these elections, which world over have been
even
called
in Africa,
out as one of the biggest sham we have in elections. So for us, we are calling for a major. We're going to be joining the Tanzanians on December 9th. We are asking all Kenyans to join this struggle. We join our fellow brothers in Tanzania to call for justice first for all those people who have been murdered. And two, we are saying that we're not going to recognize Samia Suluhu as a legitimately elected president of Tanzania. And therefore, the demands of Tanzanians is that she steps down and allows for another process that will be able to midwife what is happening in Tanzania. Otherwise, the country, people are already divided. And she cannot be seen as a credible leader.
A unifier.
Yes. So we joined the UN, and we thank the UN for taking a tough stance on this issue. They've flagged Tanzania out, and we hope even the US and other development partners can join and put sanctions on this government. All their officials should not be allowed to travel outside Tanzania. They should be denied any kind of funding for this government, and we are demanding the Kenyan Parliament to actually we're going to put a petition to close down the Tanzanian embassy in Kenya until this matter is resolved.
And you've captured it very well. And I remember what the president of Uganda said about you guys. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni said that there are 2 Kenyans who came to my country and we put them in a fridge. So maybe what Kenyans didn't understand, and you've captured very well the Tanzanian quagmire. What is this fridge Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the president, was talking about? He put you guys.
This fridge is a metaphorical thing.
Yeah.
He's talking about.
Yeah.
It's when you are a person who lives in freedom, you believe in freedom. You are called Free Kenya, by the way. Being put in a place that is a cage, that's a fridge. So really, what he was telling,
chambers, basically.
That is torture. It was torture. Torture is not just beating, though that one also happened. Torture is also psychological. Torture is also you can't move anywhere. Torture is also you can't make any plans. Torture is also you can't talk to people you know. Torture is also you can't organize your issues. That is torture. And so for him to use that fridge, it was about telling us that, see, our issues have been frozen as the Free Kenya movement. You get the point? So that is the kind of thing that he was creating there, to tell people.
In that same fridge, we have Ugandan civilians.
In the same fridge?
Yeah?
Yeah, one of them is actually the brother to the Internal Affairs Minister. The Minister for Internal Affairs, he's looking for his brother right now as we speak. He's been held at a place called Ronyo. Ronyo is a center. That's where we've been held in the last safe house. The brother is there. He's called Amos. We have high-ranking government officials, civilians, who are still being held in that place. We have Nigerian brothers, about 6 of them, civilians, who have been kept there for so long, being tortured. One of them was explaining to me how his torture went. They were using a pliers. They squeeze his fingernails. He has so much body injuries that they don't want to release him in that condition until he's healed. He's still there. His name is Joseph Ifaye Chukwu Nwobodo, the Nigerian national. I hope the embassy of Nigeria can be more, like what Kenyans at least try to do.
Yeah, proactive.
Yeah, be proactive in protecting the rights of your citizens. Whether they're innocent or guilty, let that be proven in a court of law, but not in a military base.
In that same fridge, we have Nusubuga Sam. We have somebody called John Mary Luchamsi. And I was in the cell with a Nigerian who is called John Alexander Egbo. He was in the same case with what the other one that Bob says. And we know there are many other people. In that fridge, there is 150 Ugandans out there. That fridge.
150 in Ronyo.
In fact, some are in freezers.
Those ones are in Serakasenyi.
Serakasenyi.
In Ronyo is where we have another safe house.
Yeah.
That one has some Ugandan nationals, and ourselves were there also.
So maybe, Bob and Oyo, what you needed is to paint for us a picture. You are picked at Starbucks. Where did you end first?
We ended up at Kasenyi.
Kasenyi
is a military prison. Is a military camp.
Training camp.
In fact, the place that they locked us in was not actually cells. Yeah. They were houses of those soldiers.
Yeah.
So when they picked us, and I think the Nigerians, because we found out that they came a day before us in that place, those were houses being built for the soldiers. But they decided to lock us in there. So you find that that kind of a thing. You go there, it's a military camp. In the morning, at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3:30, you start hearing guns and bombs because they are training there. So those are the things that come into your mind every time. There's a soldier who told me that we in the Special Forces have something called a report. Our report is basically if you're given 5 bullets, you must bring back 5 bodies or bring back the 5 bullets.
What?
That is what he was telling me.
Interesting, but also very sad that people can be killed without recourse in that country. and people can be jailed without being told what crime they've committed.
All these people who are there, nobody knows their crime. The ones we met, at least.
Interesting. So those were from the safe houses. That's when you're taken to Ronyo, to other places.
From the Serakasenyi training camp, we spent 23 days there.
Yeah.
And we are moved from that camp now to a safe house. The purpose of moving us was because I think word had gotten out that there are civilians in the military camp. So they had to move the civilians out quickly before investigations were
commenced.
Commenced. And we were taken to a safe house where we stayed for another 14 days before our release.
And that happened at 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, the thing is this, you're moving out, you don't know where you're going. You don't know, there are 3 destinations here. You could be getting released. You could be going to
be killed.
Transfer.
Yes.
But there is a kutumwa kwa Mungu.
Yes.
So now you're in a situation here, you are not sure what your feelings are going to be. When they came for me, they got me in the last sleep where you are almost waking up. And I hear my name, Oyo, and about 5-6 people get into the cell. The cell is a small place. So it's very traumatizing, first of all. And then they pick me up. I was not in my shirt. We have those same clothes for 38 days. So I'm washing it sometimes. I put it there. I sleep without it. So I'm wearing it so that I had to wear it. They had to remove the handcuffs for me to wear it. And then after I've worn it, I told them that I want to use our latrine. Our latrine is a small 5-liter jerry can.
Yes.
Yeah. That is cut at the top there. So they told me, no, this is not the time for that. So I'm like, wow. Does that mean that it's over? It's really traumatizing.
It's really sad, actually, to put people in such conditions. And the Kenyan government, did they play a big role before Uhuru stepped in to get you guys out?
A big role in us being abducted, or in
either, because they can play a big role in getting abducted. It's your country.
We are almost convinced, CEO. We are almost convinced. The timelines tell us very differently.
The government played a role.
Coalition with them. We are almost convinced. They need to convince us.
Last year I was disappeared for 32 days.
Yeah.
It's the same system here that disappeared us, including all the Gen Zs that were killed here.
And it said the same thing.
It's not a different government that was
Bob
there
is
in
not
place.
in our hands.
What happened to the Gen Zs who died? Have we gotten justice for them?
Zero.
The people who were abducted until today.
And you
by
heard
this
the
government.
president say he doesn't regret it.
So what is happening in Uganda and Kenya and Tanzania, these are governments that are colluding and conspiring against their own people. And they're monitoring and looking at activists like ourselves, Boniface Mwangi and others, then targeting us, charging activists with crimes of treason, flimsy charges in court. Like in Uganda, they have so many young people who are arrested just for participating in a rally. So CEO, this matter is, we can talk about it as a joke, but if the people don't unite as well to fight these oppressive governments, we're not going to win this war. It's very important.
The governments have sat together and have decided to muzzle free thinking, free speech, and all of that.
Yes.
So you've said that you spent 38 days. Did these guys feed you? Did they offer you any medical attention, or it was
They bring some medicines that are just, I would say, not medicine that you'd get out and buy if you had a chance. You have problems. Me, I had several bouts of diarrhea, severally, because you are eating the same meal every day.
What was the meal like?
It is posho. Posho is ugali, but I would downgrade it somewhat.
Because they don't eat a lot of ugali there.
They eat posho and beans. So the recipe was posho and beans every day. If they get angry a bit, they throw in rice that looks like ugali. It's not different with ugali.
So were you guys held in the same unit or different units? Did you know where Bob is? Did you know where you is?
In Serakasenyi, yes. But now when it went to the safe house, they even played psychological games on us. Trying to tell us that they told me that Bob is not here. In fact, we think we are not sure where they've taken him. We are not even sure if he's going on alive. They told me those things because we couldn't now communicate. Of course, we found our ways, but let's not talk about that here because we have other people in those detention places. This was detention without trial. Where did you hear detention without trial? In Kenya. Yeah, this was that.
It's long ago, before our new constitution, is when people were being detained. Of course, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and the ilk were the people who were detained incommunicado for all those years without any recourse. But gentlemen, I think you have a bigger thing, a bigger fish to fry, because you're saying that the 3 East African presidents seem to collude to arrest the people, and they are seen as troublemakers. And you remember Museveni saying that these Kenyans are being financed by international groups. Yet, we know very well that Kenyans have always risen to defend themselves when their rights are affronted. So what do you guys have to say about this notion that Museveni was trying to say that, oh, these Kenyans have been sent by the West to come and destabilize us?
And those are very unfortunate remarks coming from a dictator, if I may say so, because we have always relied on the power of the people. As a movement, whenever we have an activity, we put our pay bill out there, and Kenyans can contribute as little as 10 shillings towards our activities. We are driven by the power of the people. But if we get partners or donors who might want to facilitate any of our activities, as long as they're aligned to our ideologies, we cannot say no as long as we're not breaking the law.
Yes.
However, we are not funded by any of foreign interests. This is purely a very organic Kenyan movement, especially I can speak on behalf of the Free Kenya movement. That's our treasure right there. You can also donate something to our pay bill. We have the pay bill. Can you read it? It's,
Yes,
let me give it out here, a pay bill, because we need support from Kenyans.
Sure.
Give me the pay bill, account number for the bank. I will read it out later towards the end. And we welcome the support of all Kenyans because we need, like now, we want to engage with the by-elections on the 20th, this coming ones on the 27th of November. We are supporting candidates across the country that represent the ideology which we stand for. And these are mostly the independent candidates. We'll need to travel to the communities to tell them about the kind of change we want to have. So any support towards advancing this. We have victims. For example, we have victims of people who are still in incarceration. We need to speak more to the media about these issues. We'll have to travel from one place to another. So our support comes from the people. The account number, do you have it there?
I think you have it in your pocket or something.
Yeah, wallet.
So I think as you get your pay bill number, gentlemen,
Yes.
There's also a very important question to answer. It would be that if now the Tanzanian case is ongoing and you're saying that you're receiving these people who have come back and they're saying people have been killed. Boniface Mwangi went to Tanzania. He was abducted, tortured, and also almost lost his life there. How will you help handle the Tanzanian question?
It's very easy. First, we look at the diplomatic ties. That's why we're saying we'll take a petition to Parliament to lobby for parliamentarians to actually push a motion to dissolve, or rather to stop the Tanzanian embassy from operating in Kenya. These are diplomatic efforts. Secondly, we are going to partner with the people of Tanzania on the 9th of December in what we call Article 37, the right to peacefully protest, and organize a major, serious push right here in Nairobi, Kenya, to push for the freedom of the Tanzanian people, right? We are going to write to the UN. The UN has already written to the Tanzanian government on these issues of human rights atrocities. So we can push for an inquiry from the International Criminal Court, ICC, to weigh down on this regime, to collect data, because a lot of data that is already present, and initiate a process of investigating these crimes against humanity. So I think if we use these different tactics, then we can force change within that region. Otherwise, if we allow what has happened to proceed, then we are likely to see the same in Uganda after the elections, and even in Kenya in 2027.
CEO, we are worried about this thing of transmitting bad behavior of government.
From one
They're telling
country
us
to
we are the
another.
ones transmitting bad behavior.
Yes.
But there is bad behavior of government, really.
Okay.
Because the kind of things that you're seeing,
Yes.
in 2007, we had these issues.
Yes.
These elections in Tanzania is really not the best thing. We have seen Tanzania as a very peaceful country in our neighbor. In fact, it was Kenya and Tanzania, the area of peace. Now you find what has happened. Uganda is coming in the next few months. Then if this happens again, somebody is learning. And then us next. So we are really worried about that.
What do you foresee 2027 to be like then, gentlemen? Because you see what is happening in the elections around East Africa has been very chaotic in the recent past. The Tanzanian, I know the Ugandan is, and I had an interview some time back with, of course, Bobby Wine, because we come a long way. And we talk a lot. And he was really worried about the situation, the Ugandan situation on ground for his supporters and people. What do you think this would be transmitted to Kenya, or do you think Kenya will have a better election coming forward?
Already we have a problem in our view as a Free Kenya movement. We even challenged the current commission before it was inducted due to how the process that was followed to arrive at this commission. That said, we are pushing a referendum, and we are collecting 1 million signatures online on www.freekenya.co.ke. You can check the website and sign online.
Petition.
Yes, with 1 million signatures, we want to initiate change in terms of how we vote and push for an electronic voting in these upcoming elections. Brazil is doing it. Other countries like India, with about over 300 million voters, actually finish an election without any election petition being raised in court due to the transparency of the process. So if we can look at the electoral process before we go into the elections, then we can have a possibility of having a free and fair election, like in Ghana. Ghana, they've had 3 presidents, incumbents, who have been removed from power. And there's no contention in the judiciary because they have adopted the electronic voting system so that when you go to the polling station, as you confirm your biometrics, you can vote right there and then. It's very difficult to steal an electronic voting because even if you rig the election, it will be seen how many votes you have stolen. The reason why is that the Constitution says that an election ought to be neutral. And there is no election observer who is neutral, including the chairman of IBC.
Never.
At the end of the day, he has a vote and he's going to choose a president. So the neutrality of the election can only be done through an electronic voting system. And that is already provided for in the Constitution. What we need to do is under Article 257, enable it through a referendum. So one of the things we are proposing as a Free Kenya movement is to convince Kenyans to join us and give us your signatures, including yourself, CEO, before we leave here. I'll take your signature and solo.
And solo, eh?
So we'll be having only 900,000 left. If we go this direction, this is a peaceful process towards sanitizing our electoral process. But that said and done, also there are other reforms that are required, like in the judiciary. Okay, we need to do some judicial reforms to affirm the independence of the courts. We have IPOA, we have seen where it's failing. It's an independent commission that cannot prosecute crimes against the police. Why? Because they have no prosecutorial powers, they have no funding. These are issues that can only be resolved through a referendum because it touches on independent commissions. And the law provides that that can only happen through Article 257, through a referendum, either by a parliamentary initiative or a popular initiative. So we are pushing for a popular initiative, and hopefully in the year 2026, if we can get 1 million signatures within a month, by January we can have a referendum that addresses many of these issues. Protesting alone is not a means, is not an end, but a means to an end. After the protest, then we have the boardroom meetings, and that's why we're saying let's call Kenyans to a people's dialogue through a referendum, probably by the beginning of next year. Then through that, we can sanitize the elections, we can sanitize the systems and structures of governance, which we have a problem with, and we can have a better country. Right?
Actually, CEO, we are using Article 257.3, which is a general question. So that general question means that anybody, as long as you meet the parameters that we are for, then you can bring your issues also. And that is what you are saying. That is what is calling the meeting that you are going to have, so that people can also contribute issues. And we need to ensure this country does not go backwards, because we've moved with the 2010 constitution, but we now need to take it further. And that is what we are looking at. We are looking at bringing the people into the constitutional engagement in this country. Because
Constitutionalism.
Yes, because you see, CEO, none of you and me were in that room in Naivasha.
Of course.
Those people who were there were members of parliament, and some of those people who were aligned to that constitutional process. So the people were outside. We were brought a constitution, but you realize that if you talk about public participation, you don't even have a framework of it. If you go to parliament, they create something that doesn't work. If you look at a situation that we had in the recall issue, you find that the recall cannot work.
The recall cannot work. They tried to recall Aisha Juma, couldn't work.
even Pasaris the other day.
Didn't work.
So we told people, when we were going against IBC, people told us that we need an opportunity to do recalls. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So we are telling people it is time you come out, get into the boardroom of this country. Go back where you belong, in the boardroom of this country, in the leadership of this country. You lead the leaders. It is the people that must lead the leaders.
Just to interject kindly before I forget,
Yeah.
our pay bill number for the Free Kenya movement is 663670. That's a business number. And the account number, just put in your name, whether it's CEO, unaweza weka hapo 10,000, for example. But we are saying, tunataka wale
Funding.
Yeah, just even 10 bob.
Actually,
If you can get 1 million Kenyans who can say, let me commit 10 shillings only.
Yeah, for
you have
this.
10 million and we can change this narrative of what is happening in this country. So yeah, we just need a bit of support. And this support is very institutional because it goes to our accounts and we have a very accountable system. The Secretary General is here, the Treasurer, the National Coordinator is there of the movement. So don't feel free to know that we are going to account for every penny that we receive.
You collect,
from the people.
And CEO, when they say that we collect money from outside, you know, we've really struggled. We get people giving us 10 shillings. We get people giving us 100 shillings. We get people giving us 1,000. That's what we've been doing all through. If they look at our record and the way we have engaged, and even you can go and look at the KCB account, you will see people send us small little donations. So when somebody says that we are puppets of the West, it is actually an insult. It is an insult to Ugandans to say that we Kenyans, the experts of riot, are going to teach them to riot. That is an insult to Ugandans. They have their minds, they have their capability, they are adults there, they have their issues, they have their experiences, same as us. So if somebody thinks that we cannot think, then that is very unfortunate.
It's unfortunate because, of course, and let me read for you what's happening in Tanzania. Then I want you guys to weigh in. And it's part of the things we are saying. The politicians in Tanzania are shocked over hundreds of young protesters who are massacred. Hundreds inside the AFP news agency are too afraid to speak as tiny cable headliners surround the president. Gruesome images of Tanzanians have flooded the internet and triggered wild protests. So they are saying that hundreds of Kenyans are also in this mix. And Kenyans have never retaliated in Uganda, in Tanzanian case, for example, by chasing Ugandans and Tanzanians. And you know, there are many young Tanzanians in Kenya. Yet Tanzanians are chasing, the ministries are chasing Kenyans. How do we react to such incidents?
I want to say this on that.
Yeah.
We as Free Kenya movement are supporting a Pan-African agenda where we want the whole region to integrate economically, politically, and socially. So we should not look at Tanzanians as our enemies. It is the state of Tanzania, the government, that is killing people, not the people of Tanzania killing Kenyans. So let's not make this a Kenyan versus Tanzanian thing. We shall be actually getting into that narrative which they want to divide us again to continue ruling over us. So we are saying to our Tanzanian brothers in Kenya, feel safe. Actually, I have a Tanzanian son. The mother is Tanzanian.
Huh?
Yes, it's called Daniel. The mother is from TZ. I'm the father. So what happens to my kid?
Okay.
So it's very close home. We cannot separate Kenyans from Tanzanians. We are one people. In fact, communities in Busia, there is Busia people in Tanzania,
Uganda?
Busia people in Uganda.
And they're the same
So
tribe.
it's the colonial people who came up with these boundaries so that they can divide the people and rule us. So we should not join that narrative of these are Kenyans, these are Tanzanians. We are all Africans, all right? Any injustice in Tanzania is an injustice to Kenyans. So we are going to fight for Tanzanians, our brothers, including those Kenyans who have been killed there on the 9th of December. Take that note. Hata hiyo siku hata wewe kazi ya mtafika.
Utengeneze poster.
CEO, the issues here,
Yes.
we have a lot of, my shopkeeper, the closest to my place, is a Tanzanian. We have a lot of them here, and we welcome them. We work together. We don't ask any questions. It is the same thing across board. I think governments using things like the Chan, the way the Chan happened. Do you know the politics of the Chan? People say that the government is the one that bought those tickets. The Tanzanian government. Yes, that is the story that is there. And they bought those tickets and blamed Kenyans for it so that they can create some animosity between us and them. We are not going to sink low, CEO. We are not going to kill any Tanzanian. We are not going to do it. We believe in constitutionalism. That is what we are about. If this is the riots that somebody is saying, then fine. I'm a rioter. Give me my certificate.
And this
Yes. Give it to me.
in
Give me
bold
my certificate in bold colors.
Gentlemen, and I think I really admire how you've articulated your issues, and they are very pertinent issues which the country needs to address. The people need to be informed, because when you're talking about a recall issue is very important. There are issues Njagi also you raised about the police and the prosecution, and which does not tally, and of course the IEBC and electoral voting. But remember, gentlemen, we tried that electoral voting in 2022, and the late Honorable Raila Odinga went to petition it in court, and I quote the Chief Justice calling it hot air and wild goose chase. Do you think it will move anywhere? You'll be told, you guys, you are spewing a lot of hot air. And
it will move. It will move. And
hot air and the wild good chase. I quote them. Yes.
CEO, you must believe in the good things that you can do.
Yeah, I do. I'm just quoting someone.
Yes.
I'm quoting the CJ, or is the one who said it.
Yeah, he's a CJ. He's a CJ. Yeah. But we believe that things are going to work. The young people have come out. We have struggled, CEO, to see these young people. But who recruited them? The president himself, because of mismanaging the issues of people. That's how they came into this fight. So now, things have changed. The dynamics are different, and we believe things will happen. Let me shock you. The winners of the 2022 elections, 8 million voters who did not vote. You remember the guy who runs with a camera and says, and is running next to the person who is breaking the record?
Yes.
That's the kind of thing. Those people who did not vote had 8 million. What did the president have? 7.1.
Yeah.
What did the other camp have? 6.9.
Yeah.
That is what you're talking about.
And when you talk about the people who didn't vote, you know that also the Gen Zs, which you've said are articulating their issues very well on the social. And we used to call them keyboard warriors, but they've stepped out now. They are fighting for their rights.
Exactly.
But some of them, like my friend Kasamuel, has moved. So is there any likelihood of you guys being bought by the government? You know, the government is always...
Kasamuel is not the entire team of young people.
But you see, the government comes... The next time the government will say, Bob Njagi ametusumbua sana. Tutafutie yeye kitu. Oyo ametusumbua sana. Let's get him something. Will you guys abandon the mission?
That's why
and
we
they say
want
mission
to move.
Abandoned.
That's why we want to move as a group. Hiyo parliament tunaingia pamoja, tunatoa kila mtu kule, my independent tunaingiza, tunaanza afresh.
Bob.
And we are starting in these by-elections. Yes.
Mission
asking if I can be compromised.
Yes.
I've already been offered a job before and said no to it. A very lucrative job. But we're not doing this for our own self-aggrandizement. We have actually lost a lot, CEO, in the purpose and pursuit of a better country. It would have been very easy for us to cross over and get a good car and some money. But what will happen to the country? I think some of us are called for this mission. Yeah, this is something that we are on a mission. It's a liberation we are in. Of course, there are people who are going to be bought, but you cannot buy everyone, you know. You cannot buy everyone. When it comes to time for change, it's time for change. And Kenya has come to that time of change. And we are the change makers.
And you've said you're the change makers. And as change makers, remember that there's price to pay. Are you ready for the ultimate prize?
I think this is my second time to be abducted.
Yeah, he's a serial defender.
I mean, the others who have been...
not offender.
Others have given up their lives. Didan Kimathi, you know, they sacrificed a lot for what we are having, this freedom of speech that we're talking with you. Remember, the white people had taken over this country. Had the first liberator said, we are afraid to do, we'll not be independent today. We had the second liberation where you had the likes of Bildad Kagia, Njoya, the Raila Odingas, Gatobu Manyara. They paid a price for us to get multi-party democracy. We are the leaders of this revolution. And we're not going backwards until we make sure we deliver the third and final liberation, which is both economic, political, and social in nature. And that is coming very soon, CEO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, we are saying that the third liberation is for this generation to make sure that we reach the epitome of what we need to do. But also, gentlemen, remember that you're going against a very sly president, very clever person as well. And he can put a lot of roadblocks on the way. And how are you intending, like Jagi, you're going to run for presidency? How have you organized yourself?
We are organizing under the Free Kenya movement, but we have just agreed to come together with similar movements this afternoon, which are all pushing towards the same direction under the People Power movement as our umbrella. We are coming out as the alternative government. We'll have a political system that will have all the elective seats we have today, from president down to MCA. We're working with organizations that have a similar belief, whether they are from the social justice movements, whether they're from the civil society, where you have religious organizations that are not in politics but support a new alternative. We're reaching out to them. We have the trade unionists, the lobby groups, like the nurses associations and all that. We've been working with them very closely. So we are also proposing what we're calling a people's governments, which is now a structure of the people to use Article 1, that is direct representation, as an alternative structure of government, which is actually anchored in the referendum that we have. But even without the referendum happening, within the first 100 days into power, we'll be able to come up with that system that will entirely deal with the issue of corruption in governance. If you want to fight corruption in government, just put the people whom own the taxes to watch over their resources. There will be no corruption. And that system, we have built it, we have developed it. It is in our website. It's called the People's Governments. It's been practiced in Makueni County under Governor Kivutha Kibwana. And through that system, the people of Makueni were able to interact with governance. And that's why you could see Makueni County was one of the leading counties for the last 10 years or so. It got to a point whereby when the MCAs wanted to impeach the governor, the people's governments mobilized signatures to disband the entire county. That is an awakening of the people. That's what we want to get this country to reach, where the people themselves can manage their own affairs. Yes.
And maybe, how do you see this reawakening of Kenyans? And you can see the young people are very clever. They understand their rights.
Yes.
What does the future hold?
Very bright.
For them?
Very bright. The future is brightest here in Kenya. I can tell you that for a fact. For any young person, this is a place to be for the next 50 years. Yeah, we just need to deal with this system. Once we get that system out and all with it, that's a revolution in its own. Then we start a new Kenya. A new Kenya that promises jobs for the people, for the young people. How do we get these jobs? Our biggest concern for the youth is unemployment. We have, if we start just producing what we consume, we solve the issue of joblessness. From your shoes to your clothes, we start manufacturing locally. We just need a change of policy to create those millions of jobs and opportunities for people to thrive. We're looking at land as a factor of production. How do we change the land policy in this country so that there's better usage of land and our minerals? Like in Burkina Faso right now, within 2 years, Ibrahim Traore has managed to clear the national debt. How has he done it? He has leveraged on the minerals within his country to get more value, process those minerals at source, and therefore have more income into the country that can build schools, roads, and everything. It's not rocket science. That's something we can do even 10 times better than Burkina Faso.
Of course.
But unless we have a revolutionary change of mindset in terms of leadership and governance, if we go the normal way we are going of these guys versus those guys, we'll just remove Tom and replace him with Peter. But not making any difference.
And CEO, this is the generation that went through the free education. This is a generation that people have studied, have understood issues. That's why you are seeing that they are awakened. The person who brought them back into this fight, it started at a point when they started in 2023 to collect taxes from things that were online. And so the young people started to pay attention. And when they paid attention, look at what they did. So that is what you're going to say. The only thing that you're saying is that we need to move to go to them and to explain to them our issues. Once we get that point to explain to them, you believe me, it will happen.
And you've talked about the young people and the change and a revolution, which is, and I want to quote a gentleman known as Jill Scott Heron. He says, "A revolution shall not be televised." And if we are saying that this revolution is in place, how do we make sure that the youth benefit from the better land use, the taxes, and change of policy? And how do we place youth at the center of it?
Actually, we have in that issue that we are talking about, changing the constitution, we have a representation, change of representation that we have proposed. It is going to allow the 2/3 gender rule to be dealt with, but also youth and persons with disability elected directly to parliament. So that is one of the things. But also we are going to have an engagement with young people. You know, when you talk about the people in this country, you know who you are saying? 70% of this country is young. So it is those are the people. You're not talking of anyone else. When you say the people, those are the people. And add there people with disability, add there women, and I'm not saying some women, but you know the women I'm not saying.
When you say women, there are women who are from a certain group. And
I'm not saying those ones.
And not the usual mamambogas. Remember,
women.
Kenya Kwanza Constitution lied to us and told us this government will be for mamambogas, will be for boda boda, and will be for all these guys. And look at the composition of that government. I've never seen a mamamboga and a boda boda.
They can't fit. This is an elite game. It was just an elite game. They were playing con game to us. You know, it's something that they discuss in the morning, and at night they come again and start laughing and saying, nilikupiga hiyo, nilikuchapa hiyo. It's a Manu Arsenal game. This is a joke. We have to organize this country.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, I know you are going to rush somewhere. So what do we expect, Njagi, from you guys going forward? The itinerary, you're saying you have a referendum, then I'll come to you. What next? You've been incarcerated 38 days, 32 days in Kenya. You've lost 71 days of your life fighting for these ideals. Do you still believe in the ideals?
I even believe in them more now than before, because what we went through is a testament that we are on the right direction and the right trajectory. Normally when you're scaling a mountain, just before you get to the apex is most difficult. So what is happening is that we are seeing that the challenges are actually an affirmation that we are pressing the right buttons and we're doing the right things. So we should not be discouraged by the challenges, but rather encouraged by them. The good thing is that we have tremendous support, especially from the LSK, organizations like LSK, Defenders
KHRC.
Coalition, KHRC, Amnesty. I cannot thank them enough for providing that. And that's the role of the civic society. That's what they should do, is support such cases. But looking at the future, I don't want to be drawn into the politics of one-term and two-term slogans, but I think it's time that we initiated a new narrative beyond the one-term and two-term. Because as we see it, both protagonists of the one-term and two-term are people who have served in government together for so many years, them being on either side. So we are asking Kenyans to join us in this movement, the People Power movement, to offer an alternative way of doing things in the country. And CEO, we have very, very, very educated and very experienced young people who are ready to serve this country. We only ask for their support. Once again, that support can come either through technical support, it can come from prayers, spiritual support, but also financial support should come through our pay bill, which I'll repeat again, 663-670, that's a business name on pay bill. And then you have the account number, you put your name, whatever, like say your name as the person who is supporting. So through this, I think we'll be able to get the fuel that we need to carry this message across the country.
Gentlemen, before Oyo, you come on, I know we are just going for short news and then we'll break. But there are people who are watching you guys. This Paul CCA from Uganda is saying, watching from Kampala, Uganda. But what happened to those brothers of ours in Uganda has to be highly condemned. What happened to these brothers of ours in Uganda has to be highly condemned by East African countries against dictatorship. Then this Jackie Khadija Soni is saying, kindly pin up that website for signatures, by the way, please. So that goes to the people there. And then I'll check the comments after a short break. Let's go for news. When we come back, we just wind up with Oyo and what we know to have. It's Spice Driver. May host you, Charles Otieno. Keep listening.